Hello YouTubers, today we are going to be replacing a wheel bearing on my 2002 TrailBlazer. The right front wheel bearing is bad, and this process will be from 2002 to 2009. Now my goal today is to make this video minutes long because I know you have things to do and places to go, so I'm going to keep this video as simple as I can in order for you to get this wheel bearing off and on in no time flat. Okay, having said all that, let's get this job underway. I am using my stout 1940s antique jack to get the front wheel up in the air. Make sure your wheels are blocked. In my case, I am doing the rear wheels. Now the next thing you can do, and I highly recommend this just for safety, if you have a jack stand, stick it under the frame, get you a piece of wood. If you're working on soft ground like I am, I'm using a 3/4 inch piece of plywood, just a square, to set on top of the jack stand so it doesn't sink. So now, next thing is to get that wheel off. And now we have excess into the wheel bearing. Now we have two more things we have to do. We have to take this nut off. This is going to be a 36 millimeter, and we got to get these brakes off. So for now we'll stick a screwdriver in the top between the caliper and the bracket, and this will go down into the rotor, and this will hold the rotor in place. Or you can do this while the tire is still on the ground. And go ahead and get this guy off, and we'll take the nut just about, not quite off, and we'll take a hammer and tap it to free up the axle so it won't be stuck. And now go ahead and take the nut off. And now we'll take off the two caliper bolts. They are 17 millimeter sockets. There's one. And we got one up here on the top that we'll go ahead and take out. And off it comes. And now go ahead and pop off the brake calipers. And put your caliper on the back side of the frame where it'll rest. Or you can hang it up with a bungee cord or a wire. And off comes our brake pads. Now's a good time to check these. And I will be doing a tutorial on brakes and rotors very soon. There they are off. You can see they're not in the world's best shape. And get our anti-rattle clips out. Now let's take the bolts out of the retaining caliper bracket. These are 18 millimeter. One. And two. And adios bolt. And now take our bracket off. Now comes the rotor, and you can see it's in horrible shape, and luckily I have new brakes and rotor to put on it. Okay, now there's one more thing we have to do before we pull this wheel bearing out of here. If you want to keep your ABS sensor and it's still good, take it out now. Now with the new wheel bearing I got, it came with a brand new wheel sensor and wire, so I'm going to pull this out and keep it just for a backup. This one is held on by a T30 star bit. Yours may be different. Somebody may have changed the nut in it or bolt. And if you're working on a different vehicle, it may be a different size, just so you know. So we'll go ahead and get this out. And out it comes. And like I said, this is a good one. I'm going to keep it for a spare. And now we'll just pull this out of the way for now. Okay, with all that taken care of, we are ready to go ahead and pull this bad boy off. So let's get those bolts out. Okay, now this wheel bearing is held on by three 18 millimeter bolts. So you got one here, and one on the bottom. To access these bolts, we go in the back. In the back, if you turn your wheel to the right, you can see one of the bolts right there. We just simply put an 18 millimeter socket on it just like that and take that one out. We won't take it out all the way. On this side, you can see we have a bolt down here on the bottom, and we have one up on the top there we have to take out. Now we're going to break these loose. We're going to break them to a point where they're about a 1/4 inch out, and that's going to be about it for now. And I'll show you why. There's a little trick here to get this hub off. And before we do that, just make sure you have a hammer on standby, a small chisel, or a little bit of a extension to tap on, and a socket with an 18 millimeter deep well or a regular deep well socket. Okay, so we're backing this one here out on the bottom. See it turning there? We'll get that all the way out, and we'll get it just about flush with the back of the hub. And the same thing with the top one. You can see the bolt is turning, we'll back it out right to the edge of the hub. And we'll turn the wheel. And you can see we are taking our last bolt out right here. We'll bring it up to the edge. Okay, and that's all we have to do. Now grab our hammer and our little chisel or an extension. Take your hammer and just kind of hit this a little bit, shake where it'll free it up. And now take the chisel or a little extension. Now go behind on the hub and just simply hit those bolts like this, and you can see it pulls that hub right out. And do that to all three of them. And you can see our hub is ready to come off. Okay, so let's get a drum roll ready. Let's go ahead and get this bolt out. There's one. Okay, here comes number two. And there's our second 18mm bolt. And lastly, we have one more on the top. And you can see how loose the hub is. And here comes our last bolt. Okay, and there is number three. Now our hub is ready to come off. So are you ready for some magic, my friends? So let's do this. Ta-da! That is how you do it. Here's a quick look at it. As I showed you in another video, this is bad if you listen to this. Not supposed to make any noise or have any play. It has a little play, but it makes lots of noise. So let's get ready for the new wheel bearing. Okay, so here is our new wheel bearing. I got this online, free shipping for about $30, and you can see it does come with an ABS sensor, which is really nice, and a nice long wire to plug in above your fender. So let's go ahead and clean everything up and get this on. Okay folks, there we go. It is done. How about that? I am very excited to have a brand new wheel bearing on my 2002 TrailBlazer as the thunder rolls in the background there. Looks like a storm is coming. This back on, no big deal. Just put the three nuts and bolts back in the back of it there. Your axle nut back on, and I torqued that down to 120 pounds, and yours may be different. I have my brand new wire going back over into my plug from my ABS, and I am very happy. So at this point, all I have to do is put the brakes back on and put the wheel on, but I thought we would end the video looking at this new wheel bearing. So if you think you can do it, you probably can. Having said all that, thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. And basically, this is a wrap before the storm comes in. So until my next video, I will see you later.